what's up everyone, Same Time Gaming here. Welcome back for another Division 2 build video. Well guys, a couple of days ago, I made a Umra Initiative build with the, Saint Elemos, and I told you that you should definitely take cover no matter what type of build you're using. Use cover and use it like that. You guys really liked it because it was meant for solo players, returning players as well as new players, and it had good damage and survivability. And I told you many times to take cover and use the build. And now I am going to tell you not to take cover. The build I have is pretty much a run-and-gun playstyle, and it's going to feed all your urges, which is to just go in there and try to just kill everything. And that's pretty much what it does. It kills everything while keeping you alive at the same time. So we do have the survivability. Now we're using the Ouroboros here, if you haven't guessed it while looking at it. Now I know a lot of people might not have the Ouroboros. It's okay if you have the Saint Elemos, you can use it as a substitute. But having the Ouroboros is a great deal here because we need a weapon with a higher fire rate. Now, you could also use something like a Dark Winter or Invector or something like that, but Ouroboros will be absolutely perfect with this. If you haven't guessed it, by looking all the bonus armor I'm getting, I'm actually using Heartbreaker. Now, I know Heartbreaker is for assault rifles and LMGs, but that doesn't mean that I can't use it with an SMG if it's working, right? And that's pretty much what's happening. Now, I will give you a bunch of variants, bunch of options. So take it as a template, choose whatever you feel comfortable with it. There will be timestamp. I'll show you damage differences as well. So let me just show you the build right now. Okay, so this is the build right now. You can see this is actually the first variant. I do have a bunch of other variants. I'm currently using the chest piece of Heartbreaker on this one. I'll show you the one that doesn't use it as well. For the specialization, I chose the technician here because it gives you, the +1 skill tier. Plus also, you get the laser pointer, which honestly I don't really need to use it, but it's nice to have it. That's all I can say. Now you can use gunner specialization, and also you can use fireball specialization, but I'm just sticking with the technician here because I'm using the laser pointer on my lefty because this weapon can hold a laser pointer. Plus, it's a shotgun, so it helps me build up the stacks if I need to. Again, I'm not really using it. We all know we use lefty most of the time for like striker as well. It helps us build up the stacks. Same goes for the Heartbreaker. It will also help you build up the stacks, but also it comes with the perfect sledgehammer talent. So if you need to use the grenade to proc this talent to melt some bosses or a bunch of enemies, you can do that too. It's pretty much a win-win. You could choose whatever weapon you want though, like you don't really have to use it. Now as for the Ouroboros, obviously it's just going to help me do pretty much everything. The damage from this is absolutely insane. We got the RPM that also helps us build up the stacks because I always mentioned during any of my Heartbreaker builds that I made back then that any weapon that has a higher fire rate, it'll help you build up the stacks. That's actually the same case with Striker as well. You need a higher fire rate weapon to build up the stacks really quickly without have to worry about losing it. That's why Saint Elemos is also really good, but Ouroboros here just shines too much, especially if you're using the chest piece of Heartbreaker because you have more stacks to build up, and Ouroboros just does that in an instant. Like, it's so good. Now, you could also use Saint Elemos, like I said, as a backup. You don't have the Ouroboros. You can also use something like a Backfire. You could definitely use that because you have so much bonus armor. You will be fine with the bleed that it gives you. It should be okay. Now, you can also use Vector, like Dark Winter. You could use those weapons. It's okay. But Ouroboros is the one that is just too good here. Now, as for the Heartbreaker, what's pretty much happening here? Let me just tell you. So, I'm using the chest piece, like I said. Okay. So, 2-piece assault rifle damage, LMG damage. Don't need it. It's just bad, okay, for us right now. We are using SMG. Now for the 3-piece, we're getting that 15% weapon handling, which is good because it helps us with the reload speed as well, which is nice. Now 4-piece is there where all the magic is happening. Every time you do a headshot, okay, you're gonna pulse an enemy. So you want to start your combat by just doing one headshot, or you can use the pulse like an individual pulse, which I'm using right now, and you can use the pulse and then keep build up the stacks. And when your pulse is on cooldown, which should be like 3 to 4 seconds, not a huge cooldown for your pulse, at that time you can just land a headshot and then keep doing the body shots or whatever to keep up the stacks. That's all. Now once we get the stacks, what happens? Well, we get a bunch of bonus armor and weapon damage, and it can go up to 50 times. However, we're using the chest piece right now in this variant, so we can build up that stacks to 100, and we can get 100% weapon damage and 100% bonus armor, which is really good. You're losing 2 stacks per second, but that really doesn't matter because Ouroboros is just going to keep the stacks up all the time. Like, trust me, it will keep it up. Now, obviously, you want to have weapon damage and crit chance and crit damage everywhere, pretty much on your build. Now, this Heartbreaker pieces comes with the blue core attribute, so you want to have to find something with the crit damage or crit chance, so you can change the core attribute to like weapon damage there. I don't have all of them to like red. I do have the mask here, which has armor here. So if you have something with the weapon damage, then you can do that. I just couldn't get myself to drop one like that. but it's okay. The damage itself is okay. And I feel like 1.1 to 1.3 million armor should be a really sweet spot for like a solo player, because the more armor you have, the more regen you'll get as well, which is really good. Now, again, like I said, I have weapon damage and crit chance. Just focus on the crit chance, get that crit chance as high as possible, and then focus on the crit damage later on. Now, if you're a new player, if your SSD is low, you may not get a bunch of crit chance and crit damage, because your SSD watch gives you 20% of crit damage and also 10% crit chance. Plus, it also gives you 10% weapon damage. So you have to kind of think that. So if you make the build same as me and you don't get much damage and your SSD watch is low, that's probably the reason why, because you do get 20% crit damage there, which is very important there. Now, as for the high end, I'm actually using right now is the Fox's Prayer, because it gives us 8% of damage to target out of cover, which makes sense because we're using an SMG. We're going up close and pretty much everybody's going to be out of cover for us. And that's why the damage over there really helpful. Now, again, if you're a new player, if you don't have much crit chance, just focus on getting that crit chance higher. So you can use something like a Sheshka, or if you want crit damage, you can use something like a Grupo there. No problem. You can definitely use them. Now, as for the backpack, I'm using the Memento. Now, maybe you don't have the Memento. It's okay. I'll give you the alternative. You can use a high-end piece, something like a Grupo here. So it gives you 15% of crit damage. You can use Unstoppable Force Talent, which, you know, gives you a lot of damage. Since you're solo, you're going to be build up that stacks and you do a lot of damage. Now, if you want a little bit more survivability from the backpack, you can actually use a talent like Bloodsucker, which every time you get a kill, it'll give you bonus armor and it stacks up. So that's a really good choice there. So if you have that, then use it. Or if you just have the Memento, then use Memento, because it gives you bunch of damage, bunch of bonus armor, and bunch of regen at the same time. So it's really hard to beat, even though you can't get any crit chance or crit damage from this backpack. That, you know, regen and damage and bonus armor is really, really high. So we're getting bonus armor from Heartbreaker. We're getting bonus armor from Memento. We're getting regen from Memento. We're getting damage from Memento. So you see how much survivability and damage we have on this build for a solo player. It's really high. And remember, whatever damage you're doing at 1500 RPM, okay? So it's really shredding those enemies out there, whether you're playing, you know, any content pretty much. When you're solo, you can actually take these builds to Legendary as well, and it does do a lot of damage. Now, I might not recommend using Memento in the Legendary. You could use a damage talent and do just fine. Now, what other variants you can actually use with this? Well, simple. Change the chest piece. Use something like Grupo chest piece here with Obliterate talent. So you can use something like this. And then swap the knee pads to, you know, the Heartbreaker knee pads. You can use something like this. The damage will pretty much going to be similar. And yeah, definitely that's an option. If you want, you can also change that to like a, you know, Sokolov here. So you can use something like this. Or you can use the chest piece of Heartbreaker. And then you can change the backpack from Memento to like a Grupo with the damage talent on it. Or, you know, survivability like, you know, Bloodsucker. And then change the mask to something like Coyote. So that's also a variant. Like there's bunch of variants you can actually use. You decide which one you feel comfortable with it. I give you a pretty simple one, which includes the Memento, because you get that regen and stuff. If you don't have the Memento, whatever you have available with you, you can use that, and you can farm it later on to get that sweet spot, I would say. Okay, so definitely try this out and see for yourself. Okay, so let me just show you some of the, you know, the variants, like comparison, the damage, how much you can actually get. So first of all, we're going to be using this one with the Grupo chest piece with Obliterate on it, and obviously the Memento. And if I show you my crits on this one, we actually have good crit damage here because of the Grupo giving us more crit damage. So yeah, this is the stats. I actually went outside to grab some Memento trophies because that actually buffs your damage really good. And you will get even more damage if you pick up the trophies when you get the bonus armor. So you do get more damage there as well. So first with this, let's see how much damage we can actually do. You can see how quickly we can build up the stacks because we're not really using the chest piece right now. So yeah, it's really easy to build up the stacks. So right now we're doing like 524k on the body, which is pretty good on 1500 RPM. So that's pretty much with the Grupo like chest piece here with Obliterate on it. If I swap this with something like let's say Sokolov and try to put the same mod, let's see if I can find the same mod. Should be this one, right? Yep, there we go. And with this, we're going to be losing a little bit of crit damage because, you know, we just lost the Grupo buff there, the crit damage buff. And let's see how much damage we do with this one. I need to really do it quickly because I don't want the Memento, like, you know, the damage buff to disappear. So yeah, we can still do over 500k, like 511 here. So yeah, 511,000 damage here. So we did lost a little bit of damage because we just dropped the Grupo there. Yeah. Now let's go back to the chest piece of Heartbreaker here And let's use the same mod here, the crit damage. And now we're going to be using the knee pods, which is the Fox's Prayer. And we can actually test out with all red. Let's do it with all red ones, yeah? So this is the crit chance and crit damage here. It's a bit low. It's okay. But let's try with all red first, okay? So we're going to be doing about... I mean, it'll take a little bit more time to build up the stacks because we're building up like 100 stacks right now. But once you do build it, which you will, your damage will be really good as well. So right now we're doing about 566k on the body. Yep, 566,000, you can see, with the chest piece of Heartbreaker. So that's pretty good damage. Yeah, that's really good damage. That's just all red. Now, what if I just swap it back to one of the blue cores? And let's see how much damage we do now. Yeah. We need to, again, build up the stacks. I'm actually keeping an eye on that memento, you know, the timer there. Now, okay, we are almost full there. Yeah, we're doing like 530k on there. Yeah, 534,000 with the one blue core on the mask. So yeah, we're definitely hitting more than 500k on every single of the variant with this. So definitely really high damage. You have to understand that we're doing all this damage with, you know, like close to 1500 RPM on this weapon, and having more than 500k, 550k damage on a build like this when you're solo. With that much of survivability, the bonus armor region and stuff like this, are really, really high damage. And obviously, your damage can be a little bit lower if your SSD is low. Like I said, you know, you do get a good amount of buff from your SSD watch. However, the damage itself is really nice, and the survivability is there. Now, I know it's nowhere near like Striker, but Striker is a DPS build, doesn't have survivability. If you go for survivability, which I've made tons of Striker builds on my channel, if you go check them out, you'll see that my damage is somewhere around like this, 500 to 600k, because we're putting survivability. So when you put that, you know, you lose damage. So don't even try to compare this with Striker, because that's a DPS build for, you know, high difficulty contents and stuff. This is a solo build, can also be used in Legendary. That's a good survivability. So there's, you know, huge difference. They nerfed Heartbreaker a lot. Heartbreaker used to be the best DPS build out there, but they did nerf it. They buffed Striker even further, allow people to not lose stacks when you know, miss your shots. So they kind of really did bad thing with Heartbreaker, to be honest. Otherwise, it was a really good choice. But hey, it works really good with the Ouroboros. Give it a try if you want. You're probably gonna say like, why I can't just use you know, Hunter's Fury or something like that. You can. Well, for me, I like to make weird builds. I like to keep myself using different stuff. I don't like to use the same stuff. So that's just my opinion. Your opinion might be different. So if you feel like, yeah, you want to give it this one a go because of the bonus armor and the survivability and the damage, you know, just play. Just play like this. If you don't have the Ouroboros, I already give you a bunch of alternatives. I pretty much give you alternatives for everything, okay? So just go there and see for yourself, okay? Whichever one you feel comfortable, use that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.